Welcome back to the Community Review on Hot 92.3. I'm Josefa Salinas, your host. It's Women's History Month. We are celebrating women, and we're going to kick off this segment with a good friend. She's been here before. I absolutely love having her on because she is such an inspiration and just such a former adrenaline addict that we've had her on before, and we just get such a great response every time she's here. Good morning, Deborah Deras.
Good morning, Josefa. I love seeing you. Any chance I get to hang out with you, I'm there.
Oh, man. Well, didn't we have fun at Don Miguel?
Oh,
see, we were smart. We were there.
We were so smart, and it was just such a blessing to be able to be in the presence of these amazing living sages, I believe.
Yeah, they were so amazing. And if you missed the interview with Don Miguel, you can go to YouTube and just go to the Josefa Salinas channel, and it's right there. You can see it, or if you're a Facebook friend of mine, you can get the link there. And I think I've got a link on my hot page for the interviews on YouTube as well, and you can hear the full interviews with Don Miguel and Don Jose. But let's talk about you.
Yes.
Today. So your first book was?
Confessions of an Adrenaline Addict, How to Achieve More with Less Effort. Hi, Deborah.
Yeah, right. But now let's talk about synergyunlimited.net and what you are doing.
Yeah, well, Synergy Unlimited is all about helping busy professionals to be successful without compromising your health and well-being.
Very difficult.
And I've really been focusing a lot on professional women. I've really been focusing a lot on Latinas because there is a very big need for us, and I'm saying myself included because I'm in recovery. I'm not recovered, to be able to get our goals and all of the objectives we have as career women, but also balance that with all the high expectations we have of being a mother and being a wife, and be able to move through the cabin, as I say, I've been on too many planes, roam about the cabin freely without getting sick and killing ourselves and beating ourselves up for not being perfect. And we've talked about this before.
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about that, because I think that that's one of the biggest things holding women in their little boxes. I'm going to say, I'm not going to say holding us back, holding us in our little box and not letting us move forward. There are all these guilt trips that we put on ourselves. I mean, we both talked recently about, we've both decided to let our homes go. I mean, my house that I live in is my dream house, but it's no longer the dream that I want to live. So I'm going to sell.
Exactly.
Why? Because it's just too much. It's too much to hold on to. It's too much to try to keep up. It's just too much. It was great when there were a whole bunch of people living there. A whole bunch of people don't live there anymore. It's too much. Let it be somebody else's dream now. But for a long time, I couldn't come to that conclusion because I felt like I had to live up to everyone else's expectations. And I kept thinking, well, everybody's expecting me to not be able to stay here, so I'm going to prove them wrong, and I'm staying here, to the point of making myself sick and driving myself crazy.
Exactly.
And I really, really prayed on it and came to the realization it's okay to let go.
Yes.
It's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to just be Josefa.
And that's the real key to freedom, peace, and just empowerment. And the first principle in the book is the power of choice. And we have the choice whether we want to be victims, and sometimes we create victims of our own circumstances. I was living on the beach, oceanfront view, open up the window every day, I hear the ocean, yet the circumstances around that were not serving my highest and best good and allowing me to sleep at night and be of service to the world. So it comes to a point where, okay, what do I do? Do I make it look like everything is great on the outside, but on the inside, things aren't at peace? And I think that's a real liberating experience to know it doesn't matter what other people think about us. It doesn't even matter what we think about ourselves. What matters is that we make choices and decisions, not from lack, not from limitation, not from fear, not from scarcity, but from knowing that everything is in perfect alignment. Everything, what I believe, is in divine order. So when I feel a choice and it boosts me up and I have this energy, like my heart expands, I know that I'm in alignment. When I make a choice and I feel constricted, you feel that feeling in the pit of your stomach or your heart contract, that is our intuition that we all have, not just women, but especially women, that is guiding us that, okay, this is not the right choice. But these choices are very, very freeing. and we can at moment to moment make them so that we're going along the path of what I call ease and grace, because we don't have to be that suffering, sacrificing that maybe we were taught, that as we go through life, and I had a Lithuanian Catholic grandmother and a Colombian, no, I had the Lithuanian Jewish grandmother and the Colombian Catholic grandmother. So I had this guilt on my shoulders.
Two huge pillars of guilt. Okay, so how do we empower women to be okay with being them?
Well, one of the things that I do is I am making a let go list every single day. So, we all have to-do lists and we're writing down all of the millions of things that we have to do. And I make a let go list. And it doesn't necessarily mean like you have to let go of your house necessarily, but sometimes I need to let go of comparisons to other people. So they're like, you could let go of limiting beliefs, thought patterns, behaviors, sabotaging actions that don't serve you. Maybe just for today, I'm going to let go of stress. And when I say you can't get rid of it, but I'm going to let go of creating stress in my life. Because as an adrenaline addict, I would find I would do that one last thing that would create me to stress out on the freeway. And then if I made one wrong turn, I would be going crazy, right? Mm-hmm. So how do I create even more ease and grace by my choices? So in order for women to be okay in our own skin, we have to know that it is ourselves that are in the driver's seat, that there's nobody else that's controlling it. And we can make these decisions to release the critic that is in our own heads. It's not other people. The real critic is ourselves. I call mine Debbie Downer because she's always like, right? Well, Debbie, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. So when we can release that and have positive self-talk, I know in your books you talk about this as well, and just to say, you know what? It's enough. Maybe I didn't get everything done on my to-do list, but for today, like Don Miguel Ruiz said, I did my best. Mm-hmm. I did my best and let go of the rest. But it's really, I think for me, it's a practice of also being connected with my breath. So oftentimes we're running, like literally like on that hamster wheel all day long. And when I get to that place where like I'm forgetting my keys and I can't find this, can't find that, that's when I stop and I let go and I breathe. And I just like get into a series of just releasing. And in that release, it's like I open up that blockage where the divine wisdom was guiding me to that next right step, that next right step, that next right activity, that next right person that I couldn't hear because it's on mute when I'm holding my breath and running. But the illusion is, or the myth is, that when we're busy, we just need to run more. But the truth is, it's when we're busy, it's because we need to turn within more. And to get that guidance that's going to have us take action, but inspired action, so that it is along our highest purpose.
Very good. So let's say that we've got moms out there, because a lot of us are moms. Some of us might not still be married. We might not have that partner with us to help us along. But we're moms, and that's a commitment that we made. And so we're trying to fulfill the work, being the mom, and then being a woman. Those are 3 jobs all by themselves. But so many women have to do all 3. How do we find that balance?
I think one of the things that's really important is to define balance for ourselves.
Because that doesn't mean the same thing for everybody.
Exactly. Not to read what is balance in the magazine, what is J-Lo's definition of balance, or what is Oprah's definition. What is your definition of balance? And to know that that is different each day and different depending on the circumstance. And so to ask yourself, one of the things I created for myself is this life balance sheet where I have assets, things that boost my energy on one side and things that zap my energy on the other. And so one of the things that I know that if I have like a week where I'm traveling, that it's so important to schedule the things in our calendar that boost our energy.
Like what? Give me some examples.
So for things that boost my energy are music, of course, listening to great music, being outside. For me, going to the ocean, that's why I still live near the beach. that boosts my energy. And so even though there's all these demands of work and family and being a woman, when you have the things that boost your energy and you're nurturing yourself, and it is not selfish, I have to say, one of the myths that people think is that nurturing ourselves and taking care of ourselves, such as eating healthy and exercising and playing out, I don't call it working out, playing out, is selfish. We can't be there for our husband, for our job, unless we take care of ourselves first. So that is vital. Accountants, like in finance, they say pay yourself first if you want to invest for the long haul. In life, work-life balance, we have to invest in ourselves first. And that means extreme self-care. So scheduling those assets in, but also letting go of some of those liabilities, which are whatever zaps our energy.
Like, what's for you?
For me, what zaps my energy is traffic. For me, what zaps my energy is like computer glitches. But I find that's very related to my energy. When I am in a frenetic state of energy, that's when my BlackBerry will stop working. That's when my computer will crash. So then I don't feel like a victim of computer technology. I go back to my place of power, which is me. And I'll make a choice. Okay, let me just take a walk. Let me just meditate for a second. And I'm not talking about the answer to work-life balance is to stop and not to do anything and just meditate on a mountain. What I am encouraging and inviting women to do is taking that sacred time for themselves to nurture. Because for a long time, I coached people on addictions. And they say all addictions are based on fear.
And we're not just talking about drug addictions. We're talking about addictions to everything.
Workaholism, perfectionism, shopping,
mommyism.
Exactly. And so that fear is based on not enough. So if you give yourself enough, if you fill yourself up, you're not going to reach for that extra piece of cake. You're not going to reach for that extra Coach purse. You're not going to reach for that extra drink. You know what I mean? You're going to be able to fulfill it within yourself, but it takes nurturing. It takes nurturing.
How do we recognize that maybe some of the things that we're doing are because there's something missing inside of us? How do you get to the point where you can say, wow, I am really eating too much because I'm trying to fill something that's empty inside of me because I'm really not that hungry. I really didn't need 5 extra Oreos after I had the one. I really didn't need to go get that bowl of ice cream right before bed.
Part of it is really being present. And I've learned this from the readings of Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now and A New Heaven and a New Earth. And it's just about when we are present, not just in the room, but connected with our beingness. I think sometimes we have to reclassify ourselves as human doings instead of human beings because we're so disconnected. We're wondering, well, with all this social media and Facebook and Twitter, we are connected with people more than ever before. But are we? Are we connected when we're texting while we're at lunch with someone? Are we connected when we're Facebooking instead of picking up the phone to call? And I love all of these technologies and I use them and there's nothing against them. But to be aware, to be truly connected, it takes a level of slowing down. It takes a level of turning within and asking ourselves even just a simple question. Am I hungry? You know, is this activity in my highest and best good? And so I think the key to beating ourselves up, the perfectionist, is to ask ourselves empowering questions rather than questions of condemnation and guilt-provoking questions. So instead of saying, why am I eating this Oreo? You say, how can I choose even healthier foods this meal? You know what I mean? How can I be even more in balance today? And really asking that even more is setting up your subconscious mind that you're already intending to do it. And one of my mentors, Dr. Michael Beckwith, says, we don't have attention deficit disorder. We have intention deficit disorder, where we're so moving fast and just living life accidentally that we're not living on purpose, where we're setting intentions and allowing ourselves to really be clear in every moment. What am I intending here? And just consciously, because our thoughts are energy, pouring our intention on where we want to go. So then I've heard people say, oh, well, this is going to be really stressful. We're just going to stay up all night, not get anything done. I'm like, that's not my intention. My intention is this is going to be so successful and it's going to happen with ease and with grace. And you've seen this before. People that are in the flow and they just things just go well. Where if people, they're like proclaiming what they don't want by saying, this is going to be stressful.
That's a habit I'm trying to get my son out of. Well, that's not ever going to happen because I said it definitely won't, as long as you keep saying that.
Exactly. Great affirmation.
You know, what they say, argue for your limitations, and sure enough, they're yours.
Yes.
You know, I tell people that all the time, you know, argue for your limitations, and sure enough, they're yours.
Absolutely.
You know, wouldn't you agree that you have to look for the triggers as well?
Absolutely.
Like there's certain people that when they call me, my first instinct was to get on the phone in the kitchen and then to munch while I was talking to them. Why? Does that person make me nervous? Does that conversation generally go somewhere that I'm not comfortable with? So I started recognizing that. And so now when I talk to that person, I don't go into the kitchen.
Exactly.
I sit in my office, or I sit in another room, or I sit outside and talk to that person.
Yeah, so that's the awareness. So when you have the awareness, you're conscious of the triggers, but oftentimes we tune out, myself included. You just get into this, you know, da-da-da. It's like this. It's the adrenaline. It's just like the momentum goes, and instead of waking up and turning within and being still, we wake up and we start running. And we wonder why we feel like we're on a treadmill. But if we wake up and we take time to turn within, or if during the day when we're feeling stressed out, that's the time that instead of going for the extra coffee or the extra food, that we take that breath. And you know, if you take 3-6 deep breaths, you get into a natural state of meditation. And meditation defined is mindfulness. You're in a place of expanded awareness where you're able to focus on what's in front of you, but also in the periphery. That's why when we're driving, we're in a meditative state. And that's why I listen to audiobooks while I'm driving, because that's when you could really, you know, and also listen to jamming out radio.
Right.
You know.
Okay. So let's talk about that life balance.
Yes.
That's just so important. How do we get it without, well, like I was getting ready to say without seeming selfish, but that's one of the first things we have to realize is that finding balance for yourself, just because you're doing it for yourself doesn't mean it's selfish.
Right. And I think the key is to reframe it in our mind. One of the things that I do when I have a limiting belief that doesn't work for me is I change it. So if I say, oh, well, taking care of myself is selfish, then I say, okay, is that true? You know, is that really true? Because when I'm taking care of myself, I'm modeling for my children, like just taking care of myself, healthy eating habits. I'm modeling for my children healthy eating habits. When I'm taking care of myself by playing out, by going to Zumba or salsa dancing, I'm modeling for my children positive habits. You know, so it's really about demonstrating that when we take care of ourselves, it is the best gift we could give to those around us. Because what it does is it gives us more tolerance. It raises up our ability to handle the stressors in our life so that we're not flying off the handle and yelling at our spouse or yelling at our children because we're so upset, or flying off the handle at work, or like I was saying in the confessions book, getting sick. Are we able to serve our family? So it's really important to journal, I believe, and to really write down what have been the consequences of the way I'm living my life now. What have been, and what do I want my life to be like? What is the vision for my life with even more balance? What does that look like? And what do I need to let go of for this to happen? And it could be guilt, it could be shame, it could be worry, it could be caring what other people think. And what do I need to schedule in so that I am my priority? And I being my priority does not mean that I am neglecting my children or neglecting my husband. It means that I am present for the value that I am the love that I reflect. So no one can receive that love unless I have it for myself, because we're mirrors of each other. So in order for us to give it, we have to be it, right? It's just a really interesting lesson that I've been learning, to love myself even more. Even more.
Well, I have a question I'm going to throw out to the audience, and I want you to really think about this, especially the ladies. I know there's lots of guys that are listening too. When is the last time you really looked at yourself in the mirror? A lot of times we get into the habit, you know, we'll glance, we'll do our hair quickly, and we'll go. When's the last time you really looked at yourself and saw yourself?
Right.
Think about it. I'll bet you there's people in the audience going, wow, you know what? Now that she mentions it, I glance at myself to make sure that, you know, everything's buttoned up and my hair looks cool, my makeup is cool, and then I go, and then that's that's it for the rest of the day. I don't see myself again. But did you really look at yourself when you were there? Really look at yourself. Examine yourself. There's something to be said for doing that. There really
and many
is.
times I think we don't, or I hadn't in the past, is because I would pick out the flaws. I'd be like, oh, look at this stretch marker, look at this extra thing here, blah, blah, blah. But when we look at ourselves and appreciate and acknowledge ourselves as I believe, children of God, that we are perfect, whole, and complete, that there's nothing we've ever done, there's nothing we could ever do that can take that away. And when we love ourselves, we're loving the divine. And when we beat ourselves up, we're beating up the divine because we're one. So,
well, like Miguel Ruiz said, he said, there is nobody else like you.
Mm-hmm.
You are perfect. There will never be another you. Just really, really realizing the impact of those words. You are in every single person. We are incredibly unique. There will never be anybody like us. That's so much to be excited about right there. And look at yourself. You're alive.
And the best thing that we can do to help us with work-life balance is to release our judgment and self. Because you know how much more energy you have each and every day? Because when you think of your brain as like a computer, and every time we have a negative thought, it's like a virus. So it's slowing down our ability to process information. The brain deletes, distorts, generalizes information. If we have negative thoughts in there, it's going to go slow. But if we take out those negative thoughts, let go. Okay, just for today, I'm going to let go of worry. You know how much more energy we will have? You know how much more focus, clarity, intuition? People always ask me, well, how did you get this? And how did you get that? I'm like, it just dropped down to me. I have a divine DSL connection. And they're like, what? And I said, we all do, but it's blocked by our negative thoughts and beliefs. And so I think the best practice we could do for work-life balance is not about managing other people, because we can't. What we need to do is let go and release any negativity that is blocking us from our natural state, which is peace, harmony, and balance.
Well, if people want to get more from you, give them a web address for you in case they maybe just want to get in contact with you right now and say, help.
Yes, I have a website called synergyunlimited.net. It's SYNERGY unlimited.net.
And of course, that link will be up on my webpage at hot923.com, keyword Josefa. Hermana, it's always great having you here.
Thank you so much.
You're such a great energy. I'm always so jazzed every time we talk and see each other. And please come back.
Yes.
You know, you said you're going to start writing another book?
Yes.
Very good. Well, come back and see us as you go through that book, or anytime you just want to send out some energy, or you think that maybe women are getting off course in a certain area, come back and visit us. Mi casa es su casa. My microphone is your microphone.
Thank you so much, hermana.
Now that's some women power for you. The Wise Latinas, and then Deborah Deras. Coming up next, you know, spring break is right around the corner. Some parents are wondering, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? I don't have enough money for a big vacation, but I got to do something with the kids. We do something every year. I went to my friends over at Orbitz to talk about what is the best way to look for the spring break you're looking for. Or maybe you're trying to avoid all those people on spring break and you want to go somewhere a little more quiet. They've got the answer for you. And LA, listen up. The Biggest Loser is looking for their next contestants, and they're coming to LA to find them. All that information is coming up next on the Community Review, Hot 92.3.